Welcome to The Truth About Health. This show is all about giving you the info they didn't want you to hear, the facts they've hidden, the studies they've buried, and the choices that put you back in control of your health in a world that is spinning out of control. Today, we're joined by Dr. Bryan Ardis, one of the world's most influential voices in alternative medicine. He's a chiropractor, acupuncturist, and fearless researcher. Dr. Ardis is the best-selling author of Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, where he exposes government hidden agendas and shares natural remedies for over 200 COVID and long COVID symptoms. He hosts the Dr. Ardis Show and co-founded the Healing for the Ages Wellness Conference, bringing together top doctors focused on natural remedies over corporate profits. We're going to be talking about the real importance of salt, the military's flip-flop on flu shot mandates, USAID's role in COVID origins, Fauci's accountability, and the toxins still being protected by the system. If we have time for all that. Every week, we're going to cut through the noise so you can make better decisions for you and your family. But as always, got to have the disclaimer. The information in this broadcast is not to be taken as specific medical or health-related advice. This is for broad dissemination and education only. You are encouraged to seek qualified medical and health professionals for your personal needs. I even try to do it fast like they always do those disclaimers. Now let's get to the truth with Dr. Bryan Ardis. So great to have you. Has been way too long since I've had the opportunity to talk to you. So I'm excited to catch up.
It is great to see you too. And yeah, lay out all the disclaimers so I can start preaching the truth that's published in research studies the narrative, the mainstream narrative doesn't want you to absolutely believe or have confidence in. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes, and they always want to try and get us for speaking the truth. So we got to keep those disclaimers in there just, to protect ourselves legally. But Dr. Ardis, you've spoken a lot about the importance of salt, which is great because I happen to absolutely love salt. So why has mainstream medicine demonized it for so long? And what does the body actually need it for?
Yeah, this is a very hot topic in a lot of medical conventions that I speak at or other health conferences. But we've all been fed a bill of goods for decades now that too much salt is bad for you. And if you consume on a daily basis too much salt, which there are different organizations that have different upper limits. For example, the FDA says you shouldn't have more than 2,200 milligrams of salt in a given day. If you do, it will increase your risk of high blood pressure, stroke, and heart attacks. But if you look at the American Heart Association's website, it's half of that amount that they say any American or human should consume. It's only 1,100 milligrams or so. You shouldn't go above that. If you do follow the FDA's recommendations, which is twice as high the amount of salt, then you're going to develop high blood pressure, strokes, and heart attack risk. So I just want to lay that out for you first. Those are the upper recommended daily allowances by the FDA and the American Heart Association. But I want to remind you all, and ask you, do you know if those numbers are accurate? Do you trust those numbers? And as you've all walked around and looked at goods in the grocery store and in packages, even your local Cheerios box for years had a little red banner across it that said low sodium food, right? So everything is low sodium. It's got to be better for you. Got to be better for you. But I want to tell all of you and ask you all a question. As you have systematically watched our society and the whole world be told that you need to reduce your salt intake, has the amount of strokes and heart attacks gone down?
No.
Not even close.
Like we've gone up.
No. In fact, the American Heart Association is making more money than ever to fund research to find what's the underlying cause of heart disease and stroke, because all they've wanted to blame is salt intake and genetics. Well, okay. I need to say something to all of you. Let's bring some common sense first, and then I'll let you go do the research. Okay. If you or I had a heart attack right now while doing this interview, and anybody around us, either at work, in the studio, or at home, I'm in a home studio. If I have a heart attack right now and we call 911 because we're having a heart attack or having a stroke, the EMTs will come. They will check our pulse rate. They will then, if they can't pick up a pulse, they're going to use an AED device to shock you back to life if your heart has stopped. And if they can get your pulse back, do you know what the first thing is they're going to inject inside of you when you had a heart attack or had a stroke that has put you in that health crisis? Do you know what the very first thing is they're going to insert in your arm directly into your bloodstream before they even get you to the hospital?
I'm going to guess it's salt, just because that's what we're talking about.
It is salt.
They're going to actually hook up a bag.
They're going to pick up a bag, hang it from a little stand on the little gurney that they're walking you into the ambulance and then to the hospital. They're going to hook up a bag of water, distilled water, filled with salt and chloride, and it is called saline. Saline is a mixture of salt and water with chloride. Do you know, can you tell me what the amount of salt is in that bag? Every single one of those bags hanging in every hospital room across the entire world, going into every ambulance person or patient with a health crisis. Do you know 100% of all human beings on earth in a medical emergency being treated by the medical profession, what is in the bag of water every day you're being treated by them, regardless for a heart attack, stroke, high level blood pressure, stroke level? What's the first thing they give you without question? Do you know how much salt is in the bag?
No idea.
9,000 milligrams of salt, which is 4 times more than the FDA says you should have in any 24-hour period. And it's 9 times more than the American Heart Association says, or it will increase your risk of heart attack or stroke. So I'd like to ask you, why does every cardiologist and the American Medical Association continue to tell you that consuming more than 1,000 milligrams a day of salt is bad for you, when every patient for any condition ever in a hospital, every day they're in there because they're sick, dehydrated, feverish, ill, whatever? Why are they giving you 9,000 milligrams of salt at a bare minimum every day you're in there? 100% of you. Why are they doing that if salt's bad for you?
Yeah.
Well, I can answer that for you. Did you know that your kidneys, these 2 organs that produce urine and excrete water out of your body, do you know that your kidneys have pumps that turn uric acid and water and blood into urine in your kidneys? And these things are called pumps. They pump the water out of your body in the form of urine. Do you know that these pumps have a specific name when you open up any medical textbook? They're called sodium-potassium pumps. Okay, do you know what sodium is?
Yes.
Sodium is salt.
Salt.
You know what potassium is?
I know that one.
It's potassium. All right, so the kidneys need a high level or a certain amount of salt every single day to even get your body to release the urine, to lower water retention in your body, to release the pressure on your arteries and veins called blood pressure. All right, so if your body is designed to use salt, and the medical profession gives you 9,000 milligrams of salt whenever you need them, even if you're having a heart attack in the moment, having a stroke. I will just give you an example. My 94-year-old mother-in-law at midnight 8 months ago was taken by ambulance from her assisted living home to the hospital here in Plano, Texas. Her blood pressure was 280 over 180. Stroke level. This is at midnight. My wife and I meet the ambulance at the hospital, literally 5 minutes from our house, walk into the ER, and as they're taking her into this room to be held until they admit her, this is at midnight, a nurse comes in, just rushes in right by us, says hi, and says, I need to give her saline with a push. Now, she has stroke level high blood pressure, which is why she's there. She hooks up this bag of salt water, unhooks the valve that controls how much salt water goes into my mother-in-law's body, and in about 20 minutes, that entire bag of 9,000 milligrams of salt has gone into my mother-in-law, who has stroke level high blood pressure. 20 minutes later, a nurse, without ever seeing a doctor yet, no doctors come in yet, within 20 minutes, the nurse comes back in and sees that the bag is empty and has a second bag to hang up on the stand and insert into her, which is now a total of 18,000 milligrams.
Wow.
For a high blood pressure stroke patient, okay? No doctor has come in to see her. No one has come in to consult us at zero. Just the nurse has been told, do 2 bags of salt water and do a push on both of them. So within 40 minutes, she gets 18,000 milligrams of salt. And guess what happens before the MD making his rounds ever even comes into this ER room? Her blood pressure, you can watch the monitor. When they put in that second dose of 9,000 milligrams of salt, her blood pressure starts coming down. Systematically, just coming back down to normal. As the nurse is trying to get out of the room after hanging in the second bag, I'm just watching this whole scenario. Me and my wife are just kind of side-eyeing each other like, can you believe they're doing this in front of us? She walks by me. She's like in her mid-20s. And I said, excuse me, can I ask you a question? And she goes, yes. And I said, you know, when you went through nursing school, were you ever told that consuming too much salt increases your risk of developing high blood pressure, strokes, and heart attacks? Yes. Did my mother-in-law have stroke level blood pressure when she came in here? Yes. Do you know you just gave her 18,000 milligrams of salt and her blood pressure's coming down? Do you ever ask yourself, I learned in school that salt, if you take too much of it, increases your blood pressure. Have you ever asked yourself, why is the protocol in hospitals with a stroke level high blood pressure patient, why is the answer first and foremost a crap ton of salt? And she goes, actually, for the first year of being a nurse, I questioned it every single day. Like, this went against everything I learned in school. And then I realized something. You kind of forget it's salt because they don't call it salt in your work. All the doctors and everybody uses the nomenclature. The wording is what they say. Give the patient fluids. They just need fluids. So you kind of dismiss the fact that you're administering salt as the mineral the body requires. Now, I just want to remind everybody here, have you ever had a mammal, ever known anybody raising mammals, including ranches, farmers, where they have mammals bigger than you, like cows, horses, sheep, alpaca, pigs, I don't care. Have you ever noticed that all the farmers and ranchers, when they go to the feed store, they all pick up these huge blocks of white things to put out in the field because the mammals will become diseased and unhealthy and develop heart disease if they don't have access to this one big white block 24/7. And they don't have to control how much they get. The animal knows how much it needs. Okay, you're a mammal. These mammals that are bigger than you have free access to one mineral block. Do you know what those blocks are called?
Salt.
Salt licks.
Salt
They're called
licks.
salt licks. So we know all mammals, except for the intelligent ones with our IQ, have all convinced each other you don't need salt. So let's just bring this forward here. Every mammal needs salt. Have you ever looked at the periodic table of elements in your whole life? You learned at some point this big, beautiful, colorful columns and rows chart with these little abbreviations. You taught and you learned that those elements are what science has figured out makes up all of the universe and you. Do you know what's on that list? An abbreviated little box that says Na. Do you know what Na stands for? Sodium. You know what else is on there? Magnesium. You know what else is on there? Zinc. You know what else is on there? Selenium. You know what else is on there? Iodine. And you know what I find interesting? Your medical professionals will tell you, don't take those supplements I just named off the periodic table of elements. They might have side effects. Well, I'm sorry, if you don't take those, you start to break down. Your body's made of those things, and if you don't have enough of them, you're going to die. And this medical profession has taken advantage of this. They know that you need salt, so they literally created a propaganda scheme to convince you that low amounts of salt is better for your heart health to prevent heart attacks and strokes. And then at the same time, when you go to your medical doctor and they say you have high blood pressure, then want to blanket sweep, blame it on your genetics or salt intake, they're then very often going to write you a prescription drug to go to CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Target Pharmacy to pick up what's called a water pill or a diuretic to lower your blood pressure. And I'll give you examples. Lasix, hydrochlorothiazide, abbreviated HCTZ is the prescription. Do any of you out there know that HCTZ and these drugs called diuretics are actually salt pills? But they just call them hydrochlorothiazide and call them Lasix. Do you know they actually are synthetic salt? They know that salt is required by you. They just wanted to profit off of charging you $500 a month for their salt in a little orange bottle called a prescription. All right, so why would they do this? I'll end it with this. In 2016, a journalist did an investigative report and published it in a mainstream newspaper. Can't remember if it was the New York Post or the New York Times, maybe the New York Times. But this guy wanted to research how much saline is being pumped out by hospitals into all the people in America. And then he discovered something, that the FDA, our FDA in Washington, D.C., writes the contracts every 2 years setting the price at which any hospital in America is expected to pay for one bag of saline in the hospital or in the ambulance or in the EMT services. So the FDA writes a contract, and what he discovered in 2016 was the average price of every single bag of salt water used by hospitals and EMTs around the country all day, every day, being pumped into every person you know and love in a hospital every day they're there, that those bags, the FDA has contracted, they will never pay more at that time than $2.50 a bag. That journalist went on to ask the next question. What's the average insurance charging for a patient receiving one of those bags? So if you have a child in the hospital, at Children's Hospital, how much does the hospital bill their insurance for that bag of salt water they paid $2.50 for? Would you like to guess what the average nationwide charged to insurance? Every hospital in America bills their insurance for, of the patient, to pay for that $2 bag of salt for a kid who receives it.
$100. I don't know.
So the hospital pays $2.50 a bag. Yeah, this is exciting for them. $2.50 a bag. How much do they charge on average for a child at Children's Hospital, St. Jude's, anywhere, to actually get these bags of salt?
No idea.
$383 a bag.
Insane.
See,
I thought I was guessing high when I said $100 a bag, but it's 300 and some. It's crazy.
Well, the investigative journalist went further. You want to know, well, what do they average charge for adults who receive the same bag of 9,000 milligrams of salt every day for heart attacks, strokes, you name it? It's $800 a bag. So
crazy.
Why would the medical profession want to tell you not to eat salt? Because they know you're going to get sick, you're going to develop high blood pressure, and then you're going to go to the hospital. They're going to give you salt. Your blood pressure is going to come back down to normal. They're going to make $800 a bag for the salt they gave you, however many bags they give you. Then they're going to write you a prescription for hydrochlorothiazide or Lasix, which is synthetic salt anyway, and you're going to be charged now $500 a month with your copay to get the prescription drug, and they're going to look you in the face and lie to your face and say your high blood pressure is caused by your family's inherited DNA. We're going to blame it on genetics. Oh, yeah? Well, then how come it came down when you put salt inside of me? Everybody should ask that. Why did you pump me full of salt and my blood pressure come back down to normal? All right, so to wrap this up, in 2016, Tel Aviv University did the largest salt study in the history of medicine. 49 countries, 500,000 people they followed for 20 years, and they wanted to know what's the average intake of salt of all these people. 500,000 people they followed for 20 years. In their diet, what's the average salt intake every single day, and then they want to know the heart risk outcomes. How many of those people develop high blood pressure, and how much salt are they consuming, and who developed those scenarios, who had heart attacks, strokes, aneurysms, what is it, blood clots related to salt intake. After 20 years, this study is still on the Lancet. Go look at it on the Lancet. And I quote the authors, they said those individuals in all 49 countries, 500,000 people they followed, the individuals who ate 6,000 to 11,000 milligrams of salt a day, which is more than the bags at your hospital and in your ambulance, those that ate 5,000 to 6,000 milligrams up to 11,000 milligrams of salt every single day had the best blood pressure readings over 20 years, the lowest amount of strokes, the lowest amounts of heart attacks. And then they published that study. And then somebody somehow got to the Lancet and told them they need to retract that study.
Of course.
Well, they didn't retract it and take it off their site. There's just this, they just said, okay, whoever's threatening us, we'll just put the retraction request on top of the research study that you asked us to take it down, but we're not taking it down. So anyway, this is a huge racket. It is a racketeering, like you're all being duped. You're being told, limit your salt, but we're going to sell you salt, use salt to make sure you feel better. And if you've ever wondered why you went to the hospital and within 30 minutes of being admitted, you feel better, notice the only thing you've been given is salt hanging from the bag that a nurse came in and administered to you. And within minutes, you started feeling better. Why? Your body has basic nutrient needs. You have very specific amounts of minerals and vitamins that you need. Salt just happens to be number one that you need, actually, every single day. But as long as they can tell you and convince you to not eat enough salt or too much salt, you will get sick. You'll become a part of their scheme. Just don't ever forget, and I'll say it here, Joseph Goebbels. Do you know who he is?
I feel like I do. It's not coming to mind right now when I put on the spot.
Joseph Goebbels is called affectionately the father of propaganda. He was the father of propaganda, oversaw all the propaganda of the Third Reich under Adolf Hitler. He is famously quoted as saying this, and I will quote him: "If you tell a big lie and you keep repeating that lie, eventually all people will believe it."
Yeah.
This is an example of one of those. Salt is bad for you. Too much salt is bad for you. Too much salt is bad for you. I'll give you another one. All vaccines are
safe and effective.
This is a big lie told over and over and over, and the majority of people are just believing it. Also another one. Nicotine is highly
addictive.
Yep. This is a lie, a big lie told over and over and over and over and over for decades. And now guess what? The majority of people believe it. So this is just propaganda. The salt narrative, big propaganda scheme, racketeering scheme to make money off of you when you become miserable from the symptoms of being salt deficient.
Okay, so you've laid out a great case for salt, which, like I said at the beginning, is great because I happen to love salt. Obviously, you don't want your salt mixed with seed oils and all that other nonsense. If you're thinking like, oh, I can eat chips, but like what other chemicals are mixed in with the salt? But salt in general, love it on my veggies and other healthy foods. But there are actually a lot of different salts to choose from now. I mean, we tend to get the Himalayan salt in this household, maybe mainly because it's pink. I don't know, because we're told the Himalayan is good. I don't know. But I know there's other different kinds of salt. Do you have one that you recommend or you think is the best?
Yeah, there's a few companies, different salts that I use. So Himalayan salt is great. Celtic salt is great. Sea salt is great. We also have Korean, what I carry in my home. We have out of Korea. They have this specific salt that is cooked in bamboo shoots collected out of the sea. And I believe the company is Piore, I believe is the name of the company, but I've got them all downstairs. We've used them for years. But they have purple salt they make from sea salt from the ocean, but it's based on the temperature you heat it at inside these bamboo stalks. It is incredibly wonderful. White salt, purple salt. The purple salt is just more sulfur tasting. I don't really love it. Yeah, there's various forms of salt. And I'll just remind you all, your mammals that you eat are required by the USDA to not have heart disease, high blood pressure. That's why your farmers give them salt licks. I guarantee you those salt licks are not Celtic sea salt. I guarantee you they're not Himalayan salt. It is just salt. A lot of things, and I'm not going to say there are better salts than a lot of salts, right? I don't think you need iodized by Morton salts. Most likely there's much other better salts, even though iodine, which used to be very popular in what we called table salt, when they took that away and said sea salt's better for you, everyone bought it. Oh, okay, well, we got to get rid of the iodized salt. Do you know who that benefits to take the iodine out of your table salt, which we all used our whole life, and your parents and your grandparents? Once Morton's took iodine out of the salt, this is no longer iodized salt. It is sea salt, Celtic salt, sea salt, you name it. Just salt, no iodine. Do you know who that benefited? Every single company that makes a thyroid drug. Every single thyroid drug company. Armour Thyroid, levothyroxine, Synthroid. You need iodine off the periodic table of elements to make thyroid hormones. When you're iodine deficient, you can't make enough. So it favors the pharmaceutical industry to get any iodine out of your food. It was a very big negative.
Interesting. So we mentioned blood pressure, we mentioned, strokes and the treatment of that actually being salt, which is they said, high salt would bring you to that. So we exposed that, but are there other that people may be struggling with and they're not making the connection that it could be because of their low salt diet?
Is related to low salt diet?
Yeah,
Is that the question?
Other health issues. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So salt conducts electricity. So any of your brain cognitive function, you'll develop brain fog without enough salt. Your heart cannot conduct and beat accurately and as frequently without salt. So you need salt for conducting electricity, nerve impulses. The body requires salt. So if you haven't learned this yet, there's very popular hydration drinks out there like Liquid IV, Gatorade. Content inside of them is salt. Outside of Gatorade, which has sugar at like 40 grams, which is crazy. But you'll see salt is always the number one. Why? Because you lose salt every time you sweat. So every pour of sweat, drop of sweat is loaded with salt more than anything else. When you lose sweat of any kind from hot yoga, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're sweating and exercising, you lose these in this volume. You lose number one, salt. The second most lost mineral is potassium. The third is chloride. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Fourth is magnesium, and the fifth is calcium. So you lose all of these minerals either from sweating, from diuretics, and from diarrhea conditions like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's. And this is one of the reasons why I developed what's called a Hydrate Complete product. It's called Hydrate Complete at the Dr. Ardis Show. We just released that 6 months ago. And it's a 40 mix of nutrients, 11 minerals, like the ones I just mentioned, salt, chloride, magnesium, potassium. Those are minerals. 11 minerals you lose for any reason of dehydration. 11 vitamins are in it, 17 amino acids, and one nutrient called betaine anhydrous. So if you want a complete hydrate where you put everything back in you lose from any of those conditions, drugs, prescription medications that make you dehydrated, blood pressure medications can make you dehydrated, sweating dehydrates you, makes you lose those minerals. You have to replace what you're losing. So over the last 8 years, I've developed something released 6 months ago to address that. So if you've ever wondered, does low salt cause any other problems? I encourage you to do this because you're probably dehydrated. Listening to me right now. Type in Google, what are the symptoms of being dehydrated? The number one thing you're low in is salt. Look at all the symptoms related to dehydration. Brain fog, joint pain, chronic fatigue, memory loss, exercise endurance loss. Asthma is even correlated to dehydration. Migraine headaches, tinnitus, hearing loss. I mean, there's all kinds of things. High blood pressure is definitely a sign of being dehydrated. So, and dehydration by definition is being low in water combined with minerals and vitamins. The number one mineral being salt. So that's a real quick way of knowing, heart palpitations, tachycardia, bradycardia, these are all related also to being dehydrated, meaning you have to be low in salt, which is why when you see palpitations, arrhythmias, the first thing you're going to be given is salt in a bag, in an ambulance or in a hospital. They know the salt will recorrect the heart's rhythm.
Excellent. Well, that was super enlightening. But we do have a few other topics I want to hit, so we're going to have to get through these a little bit quicker than the last one. But that was really beneficial for anybody to hear, because anyone can make that quick change and make sure they're getting enough salt to address some issues that they're having. One thing that was upsetting to see just today is that the military flu shot mandates, it seems that they're getting reversed. And we do know that these new flu shots they roll out are mRNA based largely. So we're seeing the military reverse course again on flu shot mandates. I mean, Hegseth, I feel like was just recently came out saying that's a personal choice. We're rolling back any kind of mandates. And then now we see this. So what does this say about the medical freedom promises, and why do you think that they are reversing course on this?
Yeah, this is very unfortunate, but if you've never read the quote by Henry Kissinger about the military and military personnel while he was the director and overseeing it, you will start to understand how the government actually perceives and treats our military personnel. So I'm not surprised. They treat them like animals. They take advantage of them. They experiment on them with vaccines. I don't even know if you guys know this, but Fort Detrick, Maryland houses a building called the United States Army Medical Research Institute and Infectious Disease. Do you know that 100% of the only thing they do at the United States Army Medical Research Institute in Fort Detrick, Maryland, do you know what the only thing is they research and develop? They only develop vaccines for the military. That is it. They don't do research into infections, biological weapons, viruses that can be used as such, poisons that can be used as such. No, they only develop vaccines. So there's a huge partnership between the pharmaceutical industries of the world, which are the leading lobbying powers of every country in the whole world. Nobody pays more lobbying dollars, which are legal bribes to elected and government officials, to make decisions that favor their industry. That is the definition of lobbying dollars. No one every year pays more money to our government officials that also oversee our military than Big Pharma does. So when you see these rulings, you can't be surprised when the FDA just last week, 9-0 votes that Moderna mRNA flu vaccines should be rolled out for all Americans and the military. 9-0. And everybody wants to interview me and ask me, how can this be possible? Have they not paid attention to any of the mRNA vaccine fallouts for the last 6 years with the COVID-19 vaccines? It's real easy. They're all bought and paid for, man. The pharmaceutical giants, Moderna, Pfizer, Merck, Johnson & Johnson, they own the people that make decisions on behalf of your military, you at home, and every citizen in every country and state. Well, I mean, just think about it, everybody. All of your rights and freedoms granted to you by the Declaration of Independence, the great Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights. All of your rights and freedoms granted by those three amazing documents in 1776 were only taken away from you completely once here in America, and that was in 2020 during COVID-19. And then you were told you cannot have any of those rights back to work wherever you want to, if you have a job, travel wherever you want to go, worship if you want to. No, that's out. You can't even go to church if you want to. Nope, can't pray, can't sing. No, can't go in groups and gather. No, you can't do that. No, all your rights and freedoms were taken from you. And then your elected official said something to you in every outlet possible. You have to prove to us that you consumed one industry's products, and we'll give you back all your American God-given rights back. And what was that product? It was a drug product. And who makes drug products? Drug companies. What are drug companies called? Pharmaceutical companies. Who runs the world? Big Pharma does. Who rules America? Big Pharma does. If you're wondering how the FDA possibly passed 9-0, Moderna unproven. They're actually called experimental right now. Experimental flu mRNA vaccines. They approved them to just start making them right now. Go. We're going to give them out to everybody. If you don't know how that happens, you pay people that favor your industry. Yeah. So stay alarmed, stay alert. And you also probably read Henry Kissinger's words of how he viewed the military when he was over the NSA. And you will see this is how the government sees them. And this is how Big Pharma that owns our government, every person that works in it, everybody elected, all the decisions in favor of drug companies and vaccines, you're going to see who holds the cards, those receiving the paychecks from Big Pharma. So it's unfortunate. All right, so number one, let me lay something out here too. There is no mRNA in any of the mRNA vaccines. Is that weird to you?
Yes.
Everybody out there is blaming mRNA vaccines on turbo cancers, blood clots. There's no mRNA in any of the mRNA vaccines. In fact, you can go to the NIH's website right now. In my book, Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, if you're worried about mRNA vaccine technology, you should read the book, because I show you the NIH's documents from the United States. They say, how did we make the COVID-19 mRNA vaccines? They tell you, we didn't put any of the virus in there. So we didn't put any of the virus in the vaccines. We put what is called DNA plasmids. Now, for everybody out there who is not a geneticist, and that's okay, it's the majority of us, DNA is not the same as mRNA. So to call them mRNA vaccines is weird, because mRNA is not DNA. But DNA plasmids are what is in the vaccine. So how come we don't call them Pfizer and Moderna DNA plasmid vaccines? Well, I can tell you, that technology has been developed and paid for by our government and our tax dollars for 55 years before the COVID-19 vaccine mRNA came out. The guy who developed it is Dr. Stanley Cohen, C-O-H-E-N. If you want to understand DNA plasmid technology and why no one in the military should ever take one of these flu mRNA vaccines that the military's just made a 180 on, that's going to mandate those now, you should read my book and make sure all the military are actually knowledgeable about what they're being subjected to, because it's not what you think. And I lay out for you how it is DNA plasmids create relentless, nonstop, deadly consequences from the time they're injected and for the rest of your life, and how to stop it, how to recognize what to do, next steps to stop the worsening of disease, getting you closer to death unnecessarily. All right, so that is the book. Go read it. Go download it. You should have it. If you want to learn more about how they created COVID-19, how they distributed COVID-19 as a virus, what viruses really are, because they are real. I will show you how real they are and how we've known about them for 400 years, what they are. I will show you what they are. And then how the DNA plasmid technology called mRNA vaccines, how it really operates, and then what you can do to stop it and what is published to do that. So that is why that book is created. It's also in Spanish, available in Spanish in print, French in print. It's now in print. It's now going into Polish. It's been an international bestseller for a year and a half now. It's #1 in the pulmonary medicine category. If you want to understand those vaccines, go get it. Now, next thing I need to say, just real quickly, anybody questioning vaccines, Dr. Sherry Tempany and I just found out this morning that Apple iTunes has approved our Vax app we've been developing for an entire year. In the Vax app, you can go to the drardisshow.com, get on the wait list. It's approved today. It will be available for download in the App Store tomorrow. The Vax app wait list. There it is. The Vax app lays out the schedules of the CDC, the entire schedule for children, infants, adults, you name it. And then you can click any of the vaccines on that schedule, whatever one you're being recommended to or wanting to research. Dr. Sherry Tempany and I went through every package insert that can be 10 to 20 pages long. We summarized them into convenient little windows for every vaccine. You just drop down window for ingredients, what's the amount in every vaccine, side effects, what percentage of kids or adults in every trial with that vaccine, how many had fussiness, rashes, diarrhea for months, weeks, vomiting, blah, blah, whatever. Guillain-Barré syndrome, paralyzation, we have it all in the app. You know what else is amazing now that we brought up the military? I told Sherry Tempany a year ago when I said I was going to create this Vax app, 2 things are in there that I think are going to be like the biggest, most amazing, most valuable tools in the app. Did you know there's a pet vaccine schedule that all your veterinarians follow? It's in the app. It's in the Vax app. So if you're ever wondering, man, do I really have to give all my dog and cats these vaccines? Yes, go look in the app. And then all the ingredients are in there. All that stuff's going to be. We also found the military's vaccine schedule, and the entire schedule is already in the app. So if you want to know what your military personnel are signing up for, what they're going to be experimented with when they go into boot camp, it's all in the app. So go sign up for the wait list. It should be ready for downloading tomorrow, but this Vax app thing is going to be transformative. Every single vaccine comes with a button you can push that reads what questions to ask your doctor in order about that vaccine.
I love that.
So if you don't even know what to ask, we're going to lay it out for you. This is true,
so
informed
This is
consent.
such a huge resource. Like this just is
never been done before.
Sense.
Every mom pregnant with a kid, you better have the app.
Yeah, no, this is a phenomenal resource, something I wish we had in our hands a long time ago. And it's just, this is incredible that you were able to get this out. I think we need to pray over this ever, because it seems like that they wouldn't want this to survive there on the App Store. But yeah, pray over this. because this is a phenomenal resource, and I'm super excited. This is the first I'm hearing about it, like as a mother of 5, and
me too. I'm a father of 5. Wouldn't it be great to have a resource like this when you were confronting your pediatrician and they were gaslighting you, your family gaslighting you, judging you, shaming you, blah, blah. That's what I dealt with for 25 years with my children. And but I had to do all the research on my own. And that was fine. But this tool, everybody will have in their diaper bag, their back pocket, their wallet, their purse. You've always got your phone on you. And I could not imagine a much simpler tool to give you all the information you need very quickly, even in a 7-minute average appointment with your medical professional, to look up all the things you need to know about this decision they're trying to force you to make within just a few minutes. So the Vax app is very awesome. In fact, one of the things, every month we're going to be providing updates into the app. So there's a free user period, several weeks. You'll be able to download it, just use it for free and go through the whole thing. And then every month, Dr. Sherry Tempany and I and our team are updating things to the app. One of the things we're going to be updating into the app every single month is, as research is being done on like the flu, influenza, we are going to be putting into the app what are natural solutions to the flu for alternatives to the vaccine, or if you choose to do the vaccine, but you just want some added protection, natural immune boosting, We're going to have that all in the app on the same vaccine product pages. And we're going to be building this out, this incredible resource. We even have a holistic vet who's going to come on monthly, do updated videos, articles on how to feed your animals, keep them healthy and well, which foods are the best, how do you address certain scenarios and symptoms. Every month there's going to be updates to improve the value of this app for you at home.
Wow. This just I'm blown away. This is such a filling a need that it has been there for a while, a very quick and easy, practical need for us to have the information at our fingertips and challenge the narrative and ultimately protect ourselves and our families. So very exciting news on that front. And as we're getting that resource, we are seeing at least some disclosure about what we've known to be true. We're still waiting on more of the accountability for the crimes against humanity, but we are seeing more, at least exposure of people that were lying to us and these NGOs that were funding it all. Wanted to talk to you about, for one, Elon Musk, he recently posted that the USAID funding that Ro Khanna recently accused him of being guilty of killing a bunch of people. He said it was the USAID funding that was actually central to the creation of COVID-19 through EcoHealth and Wuhan research. So what's your take now that we're learning more or getting confirmation of the origins and funding of this pandemic that changed everyone's lives?
Yeah, this is very good that it's being exposed, and by people who have such followings like Elon Musk, to be able to just publish it and make sure that the people that are following him and aware of what he's doing, that there are entities, individuals, Ralph Baric included with EcoHealth Alliance, along with Dr. Anthony Fauci lying under oath about his funding of gain-of-function research, which was occurring even at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So this has been going on for over a decade or so. Anthony Fauci, through the EcoHealth Alliance, was funneling money, just a money laundering scheme, through EcoHealth Alliance to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And Anthony Fauci was well aware that at that virology institute in China, they were paying them to make infections more deadly and spreadable and transmissive between people. So this is what they're paying them to do. So EcoHealth Alliance is not the only one to blame, though. I will encourage you again, you need to read my book, Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, because this is not to blame on EcoHealth Alliance or Dr. Anthony Fauci alone or the Wuhan Institute at all. There are thousands of what are called biological labs around the world who in unison have been creating these proteins they call spike proteins that they call deadly viruses. And so you need to understand this is a very, very big military operation. They've been deep into building biological weapons, spreadable and transmissive and shedding on other people. They've been investigating this for years. In fact, I have people who have told me from the government who work directly with the Pentagon, the FBI for years, told me that the Ukraine war of Russia attacking the Ukraine was when the Ukraine had said, we're going to send drones from the Ukraine. Emails were found by Russia that the Ukraine were about to send drones carrying biological weapons and dropping them into Russia's territory. The biological weapons labs that were shut down in the Ukraine was the first thing shut down and everything removed before Russia went in there and started blowing them up. So these labs were primarily funded by the United States of America for decades to create these poisonous, deadly viral components. So I just want to say here, it's not just China. In fact, in my book, I show you that in April of 2020, researchers in France had requested to do a DNA analysis, a genetic sequencing of the 2 spike proteins of COVID-19 in April of 2020. And in their research study, they said they contacted 2 countries to get them. And then they were FedExed or shipped to their country. Isn't that odd? Nobody's been told they could isolate the virus of COVID-19, but these researchers in France were able to contact 2 countries and have them shipped in a vial from both countries. What countries did they order them from? They ordered them from China and from England. And both of them responded and sent the spike proteins of COVID in a vial, each one of those countries, to these researchers in France. So how can you really blame only the Wuhan Institute in China and Echo Alliance for funneling money over there? No. England had them. Many other countries are developing biological weapons they are calling hemorrhagic viral fever viruses like Marburg, Ebola, hantavirus, and then your COVID-19 blood clotting viruses like SARS-CoV-1 and 2. Those are being developed and owned and patented by organizations in our United States government since the 1990s. So you can look them all up. They're owned by us. We're creating them all over the place. And then we're blaming other countries for the atrocities of our tax dollar investments.
Well, and then we have the continued exposure of Dr. Fauci, who the legacy media propped up as the god of science. He himself said that he was science. But here's a man who, it sounds like, created a brand new definition for what was gain of function so that he could somehow twist around saying that he hadn't done gain of function, because it's like, no, I made up a new word for it. And so it was this, it wasn't gain of function. But I mean, that's being exposed. Rand Paul is putting him under subpoena because now he doesn't want to voluntarily testify. The statute of limitations has expired on his previous perjury. So perhaps this is another tactic to finally go after Dr. Fauci, so that reset the time clock. But, you know, he did get that pardon. So, I mean, what do we make of this whole problem we have with gain of function? I mean, getting Dr. Fauci isn't going to necessarily get rid of this problem we have with gain of function or anything. I mean, where do you see all this going?
No, they need to kill the gain of function biological weapons and biological toxic agents programs. They just need to get rid of that. This all started during the Korean War, World War I and II, where our army and our military in America were concerned that other countries were developing viral biological weapons things. And so they had to counter that by creating their own and then investigating vaccines to try to prevent it and then sell it all. This has just been a big military, I believe, campaign. So that's number one. Number two, I do acknowledge that Senator Rand Paul, was able to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci liable, it appears, even on camera, to lie under oath. I mean, he's committed perjury several times just by lying under oath about the gain of function in his emails and corresponding about their gain of function funding. But people for the last 5 years have asked me, why won't Senator Paul ask Dr. Anthony Fauci about approving an experimental drug called remdesivir to be the only drug used in hospitalized COVID-19 Americans? And the question came to me because he's a medical doctor, Dr. Rand Paul, Senator. So I'll just say here, I think Rand Paul's got a lot to answer for. Personally, I used to tell people, this is all theater, man. This Rand Paul yelling and screaming at Anthony Fauci, bickering back, this is all theater. Because somebody needs to ask Rand Paul why his wife, just 2 months before Anthony Fauci mandated remdesivir, why his wife was told to make a huge investment in the company Gilead that makes remdesivir.
Wow.
I would just look at every radio host, TV host, and go like this. Somebody needs to ask Senator Rand Paul why won't you ask Anthony Fauci about remdesivir that you just made a crap ton of money off of? Somehow you knew to buy Gilead stock right before their first ever drug was going to be put on the market called remdesivir. But nobody's ever challenged them. No one's ever asked them. I think it's all political theater. And unfortunately, I mentioned earlier the lobbying powers of the pharmaceutical industry and their threats to individuals who have been elected innocently by people in the electoral process. I think by the time they're put in those positions, they are being captured. And they are being captured monetarily, financially, and then threatened you will lose it all. And they'll do it through their wives, those that are elected. They'll do it through the individuals who were elected. They'll do it through any of them. They'll put them on bank boards, the wives. They'll put them on finance boards at banks. They'll give them financial incentives. Just keep it quiet. We'll support you and the family while your husband is the elected one. And they'll do this behind the scenes, and it happens all the time. And Quigley wrote a great book about that in the 60s. Y'all should go read it. He talks about this is the way in which our elected officials in government in America have been captured. It's usually through the spouse, and they will give financial incentives to them to keep it quiet so the elected official doesn't get in trouble.
So gross. Also gross is the final topic I'm going to just hit with you quickly. This news that the Supreme Court just sided with Monsanto on Roundup blocking many cancer lawsuits. It seems like a huge miscarriage of justice. How does this fit with the bigger picture of toxins in our environment and food supply? And now we have this ruling.
Very good. This is I did not know this. This is not shocking. So it actually fits perfectly in line with what we've discussed so far. So I'd like to ask you, who owns Monsanto? Do you know?
I don't know.
So Monsanto owns the patents and the rights to their product called glyphosate that is Roundup, weed killer. So who owns Monsanto? Who just agreed on behalf of Monsanto they own to pay out $7 billion to innocent people who developed cancer from Roundup? The settlement just happened in the last 2 months. Wow. Who owns Monsanto, who just agreed to settle $7+ billion over the next 10 years to everybody they cause cancer to with Roundup? Do you know what company owns Monsanto that owns Roundup? Yeah. Bayer Aspirin owns Monsanto. Is Bayer a pharmaceutical company?
Yes.
Who's the largest lobbying industry in our nation that controls all of our courts, all of our elected officials and government officials? What industry?
Pharmaceutical companies.
The pharmaceutical industry. So let's see who they paid off. This is just how the world works. Yeah. You watch the money trail. Who's benefiting from Monsanto's lawsuits against Monsanto for Roundup? Who benefits from blocking all the people and all the farmers and all those that have been exposed to glyphosate that now have cancer? Who's now to blame? Definitely not Monsanto. Supreme Court, no, we're going to block all of you from holding them accountable. Okay. You know who that sounds like? Every drug company that makes all the vaccines since 1986 when Ronald Reagan signed the bill that says drug companies no longer are liable for injuries from any of their vaccine products. Okay. Yeah. That's ridiculous. If Starbucks makes a coffee and you drank it and had a heart attack, could you sue Starbucks?
Yeah.
But you can't sue a drug company for a vaccine they made and told you it was safe and effective. There is zero liability to a product. Okay, come on, y'all.
And now Peloton they've effectively given zero liability for glyphosate. So I mean,
exactly right.
These are the things that can feel extremely demoralizing. It seems like it's inevitable that in some way we're going to be exposed to these chemicals. So, what natural detox or support strategies would you recommend?
This is very important. So, glyphosate destroys two things in the soil to kill weeds. And it destroys two minerals in your dirt. And those two minerals are copper and zinc. So when they spray glyphosate on all your food supply, just so you know, there's a great book called Toxic Legacy by Dr. Stephanie Seneff of MIT. She wrote it about 5 years ago. I own it. I've read it all. Toxic Legacy. It's all about glyphosate contributing to autism rates skyrocketing along with vaccines in combination. She dives into the neurological upsets, cancer rates, you name it, related to glyphosate poisoning. And in her words and in her book, 90%, and per her research, 90% of all farmland in America has toxic levels of glyphosate in the soil. Glyphosate destroys copper and zinc in the soil. When you plant seeds on your farm, copper and zinc no longer can be drawn up into your plants, vegetables, crops that you're going to eat. Therefore, you will become zinc and copper deficient. Do you remember what one mineral the world needed more than any other mineral to prevent getting COVID or having worsening COVID symptoms during the pandemic? It was zinc. Every medical doctor is out there going, make sure you're taking 30 to 50 milligrams of zinc every single day. You need it to block the virus to get in there. Okay, well, glyphosate, made by Monsanto, owned by Bayer, the drug company, they've been spraying this chemical all over the country here in America, making all of us now deficient in zinc and copper. We can't get it in our food supply. And as long as your MDs and healthcare professionals aren't telling you to supplement it from the Dr. Ardis Show zinc product or their copper product, if you're not supplementing or growing your own organic, composted, fertilized food Without glyphosate, good luck getting the copper you need and the actual zinc you need. Zinc is required to balance your hormones and to prevent estrogen dominance, which is the #1 cause of breast cancer, cervical cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer in females, and prostate cancer in males. As you destroy zinc, you lower the levels of zinc in the human body. Estrogen dominates and goes up to levels that create cancer. Guess who benefits from cancer?
That
More than any other industry. If you destroy copper, did you know every cell in the human body, including your heart, needs copper to make ATP, which is the energy of every cell in your body? So chronic fatigue, anybody out there? They've been destroying the amount of copper in your soil, in your food supply for decades using this one substance. Glyphosate destroys copper and zinc reserves. You are all copper and zinc deficient, and you will develop every disease known. Heart disease, dementia is related to copper deficiency. The ability to fight infections, your immune cells require copper. Did you know that insulin, if you're making insulin in your body and you can't get it to break down blood sugar, it's called insulin resistance, which is type 2 diabetes. And of the 500 million people in the world with diabetes, any type, 95% of you are type 2, meaning you're insulin resistant. It means you make enough insulin, but it doesn't do anything to sugar. Do you know that copper is required to activate insulin to recognize blood sugar and break it down?
No, I didn't know.
Who benefits from destroying copper for all human beings to lower their copper amounts to create worsening amounts of diabetes? Who benefits? Only one company in the entire world benefits more than others, and it's found in Indianapolis, Indiana. It actually owns the monopoly on all diabetes drugs. It's called Eli Lilly. In fact, Eli Lilly is so powerful, they single-handedly brought you the Olympics in the last Summer Olympics. Every single commercial was brought to you by Lilly. Our athletes are brought to you by Lilly. Every athlete is brought to you by Lilly. Every tournament, every competition brought to you by Lilly. I mean, the Olympics were brought to you by Eli Lilly. Where did they get the money to sponsor the Olympics? By allowing Bayer and Monsanto to spray glyphosate all over the world. These are pharmaceutical giants working with each other to create disease. It's called the Great Hegelian Dialect. Create the problem, sell the solution. And boy, do they sell it in the billions, if not trillions.
Well, all this information is just so phenomenal, such a great resource, the Vax app. And then, as you've mentioned, your book a lot is a great resource to learn more. So where's the best place to find all the resources at, get the links, and, be able to purchase the book, that kind of thing?
Actually, the most visited thing that I do ever is if you go to the drardisshow.com, I do a once-a-week podcast. You can watch it, sign up if you want to. It's under the Dr. Ardis Show at the Dr. Ardis Show, but there's a tab all the way at the right titled Resources. Somebody click the Resources tab, top right there. This is the most visited site, and click the first button there, Free Resources. These are all free. These are all blue windows that have titles of topics related to health. These are all free PowerPoints to download, which walks you through all the medical research related to a condition or disease, what drugs I walk you through in the PowerPoints. They're all free PowerPoints to download. So if any of the conditions that I'm about to name are on the list in front of you, you see there, natural solutions to lymphedema. You'll see natural solutions to gout, diabetes, lupus, fibromyalgia. I mean, I've got thyroid conditions, diabetes, you name it. All of these are individual hundreds of slides combined in a PowerPoint. You click any of them, download them. The last third of every one of the PowerPoints is the medical research proving natural solutions to that condition. So I lay those out for you. Vitamin C, vitamin D, magnesium, vitamin K2, whatever it is, has been proven to improve this scenario or condition. What you don't get from your medical professional, you'll get at the Dr. Ardis Show, those free resources. You download them, share them with anybody you know dealing with any of those scenarios. That is the most visited, downloaded section of my entire website. So if any of those conditions apply to you, you would like to know if there's something other than drugs or vaccines or a surgery that might actually help you, and you want to try it for the next 3 months, go download the free PowerPoint and download all the research. It's all free. Everything is linked. Everything is cited. And you can do your own diligence and your own research to make a better informed decision in your health.
Well, absolutely. I'll definitely be visiting it just as soon as I hop off of this show. So thank you again, Dr. Ardis, for joining us on The Truth About Health. And we look forward to having you back again soon.
You guys are awesome. Have a great day.
You as well. All right, I'm going to be right back after this important health news update that you can start sharing with friends and family. This is power. This is an instance where truth is power. You know, just armed with information, you can take control of your and your family's health. So make sure people are spreading the word about this show. I'll be right back.
The Truth About Health premieres this month as a weekly JMC broadcasting production with Kristi Leigh as your show host. Kristi Leigh is an award-winning former mainstream news anchor and independent journalist with more than 20 years of experience in broadcasting. Honored as Best Anchor and Best Enterprise Reporting honors, she later anchored at a Fox affiliate in California before walking away from legacy media after witnessing its deepening lack of journalistic integrity and shift toward propaganda. Kristi is a fearless voice for the voiceless and a staunch advocate for holding power accountable. She's been featured on Fox News, The Bongino Report, InfoWars, Lindell TV, and numerous independent platforms nationwide. She has interviewed high-profile figures including RFK Jr., Dr. Robert Malone, General Michael Flynn, Ron Paul, Kari Lake, and many more. The Truth About Health premieres June 2026 as a weekly JMC broadcasting production. This weekly broadcast features expert doctors, scientists, and healthcare professionals. We don't reject science, we go further in it. We go beyond symptoms, headlines, and hype, bringing you the truth about what actually heals the body. Thorough healthcare coverage, including new technologies, legislation, and justice, will also be addressed. Sign up for free at jmcbroadcasting.com and tune into The Truth About Health with Kristi Leigh, only on jmcbroadcasting.com.
All right, we are so thrilled that you chose to come back to Truth About Health. We hope you enjoyed the show. We got to talk about salt and how needed it is and how it can actually address a lot of health problems, even though the propaganda machine is telling you to avoid salt. Well, they have reason and motive for doing that because it can lead to a host of problems. So go ahead and enjoy your salt. We also talked about the return of those military mandates. Hopefully under this administration, they will do a better job, at least giving the religious exemptions. So we'll keep an eye on that because we know, armed with this information, that this new technology, the mRNA, which actually doesn't have any mRNA in it, as we learned from Dr. Ardis, is dangerous and harmful. And it's like their tactic for purposefully impeding our military readiness. So that is very scary. We also went over how USAID, which was defunded, that's something that we can celebrate because they were very involved and responsible for the pandemic, the rollout of COVID and its treatment, as well as potential Fauci accountability. But we also need to be asking the supposed heroes, people like Rand Paul, thank you for holding Fauci's feet to the fire, but why is it that you don't ever talk about remdesivir? Why is it that you invested in Gilead and your wife did just before the rollout of this very harmful drug that I've talked to people whose loved ones were killed by this very drug, remdesivir, but yet Rand Paul's family made bank on that. That's something that's very scary. So be weary or leery of those that are setting themselves up to seem like the heroes in these situations as well. And finally, we wrapped it up with we're all being exposed to glyphosate. Another win for Big Pharma in the sense that Bayer owns Monsanto, and they seem to get free of liability for harming people as well, even on up to the Supreme Court. So all we can do is protect ourselves, give ourselves the things like copper and zinc that glyphosate is taking out of our food and nutrition. All right. We do hope that you will return each week for health news that is not sponsored by Big Pharma or other big companies that make big bank on keeping you sick or creating more problems. And as always, please go to JMC Broadcasting contributors page to follow all our guests' information, where you will find their sites, their books, and more. I'm Kristi Leigh. Thank you again, and we will see you next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. for more Truth About Health.